Hey, this is Lewis, and you're listening to Talk Shit Radio.
Welcome to Talk Shit Radio. I'm Yvonne.
Hey, what's up? This is Tim. This is Talk Shit Radio.
I have been out on the streets every day except for yesterday.
Okay.
What the media...
Leave the gun. Technical knowledge. So,
Welcome. If you weren't already sick of me yet, you get me again for another hour. This time I get to bring you some bullshit news and the weather. So if you don't enjoy hearing what's going on in town, tough shit. Anyways, right here at our studio, it's actually quite warm. It's 78 degrees. We've got 94% humidity going on. I don't know what a barometric pressure is, so we're running 3,000 something going on there. So if you know what a barometric pressure is, that's what it is. Anyways, we got about 8 mile-an-hour speeds, average 4 mile-an-hour speeds. The peak is about 8. So getting into the traffic and all that, here in Hernando County, we've got an accident with injury going on right there at U.S. Highway 19. The sheriffs are taking care of that, so if you're down by that area, the traffic might be a little congested for you. Towards our sister areas down in Pinellas and Hillsborough, we've got a few traffic things going on. We've got some hit and runs, some vehicle crashes, a few of them with injuries. One of which in Polk County, they didn't get there until about 11:30 this morning, so it still is going on. It's a vehicle crash with a roadblock, so that's going to hinder you getting to work if you are in the Polk County area. All right. Talking earlier on Talk Shit, we saw, I don't know if you guys heard that one, but gay marriage in Florida has been approved. So, the Kenny Studios and Talk Shit Radio, anybody who would like to get married, we have Lou. He is our saint. He is actually a ordained minister. He will do your ceremony for $100. That's not a bad gig. $100. Get an awesome minister. Can't beat that. Looks like in the Air Asian, I don't know if you guys have heard about the airplane, the Asian airplane. They have found more bodies. Yesterday they'd only found a few. Now the total's up to 30 now. Crews from around the world aiding in the search. 30 bodies have been recovered from the wreckage of the Air Asia flight QZ8501. The Indonesian officials have stated what appears to be a piece of the fuselage was found. Singapore's defense ministry said it resembles a window panel. So they're finding pieces all over the place, and they're actually now finding the passengers from the plane, which is, it's horrible that, they've passed away, but it's glad, it's good that, the families are going to be able to put them to rest. Indonesian authorities have identified 4 of the recovered bodies so far. So out of the 30, they've only identified 4 of the bodies. So the other 26, they still don't know exactly who they are, which passengers they were. Many family of the members are waiting in Serbia for news about their loved ones. With 162 on the plane when it took off, they've got a long way to go to find the rest of these bodies. So they're doing what they can, but they can only do so much. That's really crazy to think. I'm terrified of airplanes, mainly because I get airsick. I couldn't imagine, getting on a plane and having that happen, or being the family. So, condolences go out to the families, and hopefully they find the other bodies and, identify them soon so people get their rest. In Winter Haven, a woman stole a package off a man's porch. Then she decided to run him over. Marilyn Donette DeBoer, there we go, that's a nice name, 42, is facing charges of attempted murder, burglary, and petty theft in the incident which happened Christmas Eve. According to the Polk County Sheriff's Office, Richard Lewis, 58, was returning to his home in Winter Haven along with 2 other people when he stopped his vehicle to check the mail. Deputies said a small gray Kia Sportage was seen in Lewis's driveway, and a woman, later identified as DeBoer, was seen walking to the SUV while carrying a package. She handed the package to a man sitting in the front passenger seat of the vehicle, then got into the driver's seat. Deputy said Lewis engaged in conversation with DeBoer, who said she was there to solicit lawn care services. DeBoer then backed out of the driveway and into Hidden Creek Lane. I guess that's when Lewis realized the package had been delivered to his home and was intended for his daughter. Deputy said Lewis stepped in front of DeBoer's SUV and put his hand straight in front of him in an attempt to get DeBoer to stop. Instead, she intentionally accelerated the Sportage rapidly, hitting Lewis and throwing him onto the hood and windshield of the SUV. So not only did she steal his daughter's Christmas present, but she decided to run him over. Now, I understand, on Christmas everybody wants to buy their family gifts, and, it's really hard around the holidays. But, the Christmas spirit is not to steal somebody else's stuff and then run them over. That seems like to be the opposite of the Christmas spirit. And personally, I have never really been a huge fan of Christmas. My mom was one of those elaborate start a month early, decorate the whole house as far as you could, don't touch anything, don't move anything, there's knickknacks everywhere. I, on the other hand, I would prefer not to put anything up, but having a young child, I cannot be all bah humbug about the holidays, so I did more this year. But I do not want my daughter to grow up thinking that Christmas is all about how many things are wrapped underneath that tree. If it wasn't for everybody else running around talking about trees and Santa and all that, I personally would start my own holiday tradition. But I am a religious person. I do believe in, in God, and, I'm not overly religious, but, I celebrate Christmas and St. Nicholas, and, I believe in, the one present underneath the tree with the little bow on it. And, I don't think you should go over and beyond. So with this, this woman stealing somebody else's package, you're proving what's wrong with society nowadays. That everything is all about me. What are you going to get me? How much do I have? Instead of, being with your family and with your loved ones at these times. So, it's a new year. It's the second day of January. It's 2015. It seems that our generation's changing into a more caring for the environment and, caring for other people. Let's try for the new year. Let's try to show a little more human compassion. Let's, show some empathy for people, Instead of judging a person for the way they look or, how they dress or how they act, why not, try to talk to that person, that might be somebody that, could be somebody that you want to be around. Just because they don't look the way you expect somebody to look or, talk the way you expect somebody to talk, it doesn't mean that on the inside they're not a smart, intelligent, well-rounded person. They just choose to dress and, appear and talk, a different way. We are America. We are founded on, all different types of cultures, religions, people coming together from all types of places. And it seems like with everything that's bad going on, we're forgetting, the good in some people. Like I stated yesterday about the police officers and, citizens. They're shitty cops. They're shitty people. They're, shitty Hispanics, shitty African Americans, shitty white people, shitty Chinese people. I mean, everybody, you know, it's in everybody's human nature. I mean, they're just assholes everywhere that you go. So, I mean, just judging somebody based on their outer appearance, it's like reading a book only based on what the picture on the front cover was. 80% of the time, the cover is way more interesting than what the book is. So take the time, open it up, read a couple pages before you actually judge. Looks like in Dade City, with that 3 killed on the head-on crash. Yeah, according to the Florida Highway Patrol, Buick Enclave south on US 301, while Walter Kenneth Rowe, 74, Brooksville, was traveling in the northbound lanes. Officials said Orlando lost control of his vehicle and drove onto the grass median, then onto the northbound lanes of US 301. Orlando's Buick wound up in the path of Rowe's Ford Explorer, and the two vehicles collided head-on. Orland's passenger, Nanny Sue Couch, 74, of Flint, Michigan, and Orlando, I hate to botch people's names, that's why, Mr. O, we'll just go with Mr. O. Mr. O and his passenger, Mrs. Coach, 74, Flint, both died at the scene of the crash. The other driver, Rowe, was taken to Lakeland Regional Medical Center where he died. We were talking about this yesterday. You know, I don't know exactly what happened, but condolences out to the family in this, tragedy. You know, it's rough to, throw a judgment on, a traffic accident that, you're not really sure what was going on. A simple sneeze in the wrong direction behind a car can shoot you in the wrong way. So, that's why people tell you, make sure you wear your seatbelts, like me and Timmy were talking about yesterday with the scooter accident. Make sure you're wearing your helmets, don't drive like a jackass, just because you think you're in control of your vehicle, which most times you are, there are other people on the road. They have speed limits, they have traffic laws for a reason. Even if you think you're doing 80 at a safe pace, and, think of the people around you that might have children in their car, and, just a bump in the road can send you left or right and into that vehicle. And, there's other families, there's other people that you need to be in consideration of than just yourself. Which, it took me having my daughter for me to realize not to do a lot of the stupid things that I do in life. Which, it does. Children make you grow up real quick. And my daughter was a real eye-opener for me. So, thank you, little K-Dog. In some great news, the first baby of 2015 born seconds after midnight. It looks like the little baby was born to Miss Julia Betts, 20. She gave birth to the first baby of New Year. They named the little baby Mila Brenna. I won't give you the last name because I'm not really into that with children. In Tampa, the first Bay Area baby born of the 2015 came into the world just seconds after the clock struck midnight. Julia Betts, 20, gave birth to the first baby of the new year. I was actually due on the 21st of December, so it just came out of nowhere. The baby girl had some competition for the title of first baby. Another baby was born at Tampa General Hospital 2 minutes before midnight and a third 24 minutes after. Julia and the midwife Tammy Taylor realized minutes before the ball dropped her first child might also be the hospital's first in 2015. It was teamwork, the mother said. They didn't expect this one to be the New Year baby, but I was so excited when I thought that we could do it. But I always defer to the mom. I have a lot of practice, so when she said she wanted to do the New Year's, I was like, oh yeah? That's incredible, to, bring in your new year with, such a great little blessing. And I don't know how our viewers feel about little babies, but they are little tiny puking, shitting miracles. Mine drives me a little crazy, but I think I think what my dad and my mom always told me was that I was going to get 3 full back what I gave out. And I don't know about you, Timmy, but
Maybe you didn't contact
I'm
Viper
screwed because
Windstorm took.
I gave out a lot of hell.
What?
As a kid, they say you gave back 3-fold what you gave out. Were you a bad kid?
I wasn't a good kid.
Oh, you shouldn't have kids then.
No, I wasn't a good kid.
You get 3-fold back, buddy. 3-fold back. And my daughter is awesome. Like, you've seen her. She's a cool kid, but she's just terror.
Hyper?
Hyper ain't the word, man. I mean, it's beyond hyper. I mean, I literally yesterday, she was like, Mom. I was like, huh? She's like, Mom. I was like, all right, maybe my HUD didn't work. So I was like, what? She's like, Mom. I was like, what do you want? Mom. Huh? And then she asked me again, Mom. And that's when I finally got a little irritated. I turned around and I said, look, I have already responded to you 4 different ways that I know how to respond to you asking me, Mom.
I used to do that just to piss my mom off.
What do you want? I think that's why she does it. I think she knows that there's a small little irritation bubble building up, like, oh, she's going to blow.
She's going to pop at some point. I'm just going to keep on asking for her.
She's got a fin on the top of her head. Let's see if she's a whale. Or what would that be, a dolphin?
Sharks.
Sharks? Do you,
Some whales have fins.
yeah, shark. Yeah, I'd be more of a shark, though. Because sharks don't have holes to blow things out of. Whales do.
Dolphins have a little.
Yeah, but they got a weird... They're not very... I don't know. I think a dolphin could be kind of aggressive. And you piss that thing off, it'll bat you with its nose.
I like the taste of them.
Oh, gross. You like that dolphin tuna? Oh, come on, Timmy. You don't use dolphin-safe tuna? For the love of animals. Oh. So it looks like scientists are saying that random gene mutations are bad luck. Or bad luck are the primary cause of most cancers. They're saying that cancer is bad luck. I mean, yeah.
Good luck.
I mean, yeah, but come on now. It says, ever marvel at someone who smoked and still lived to be 90? Just plain good luck, researchers say. And those who have lived Puritans and get cancer anyways. That's bad luck. And it's the primary cause of most cancer cases, says Johns Hopkins Medicine Research Study. So they're saying that, you can smoke for 70 years and be healthy, and that you just got good luck. I mean, I guess, but I wouldn't go that far. Roughly 2/3 of cancers in adults can be attributed to random mutations in genes capable of driving cancer growth, said 2 scientists who ran statistics on cancer cases. That may sound jaw-dropping, and Johns Hopkins anticipates that the study will change the way people think about cancer risk factors. They also believe it could lead to the changes in funding of cancer studies, with a greater focus on finding ways to detect those cancers attributed to random mutations in genes at early curable stages, which is smart. I mean, I can completely understand that. I mean, my mom's generation smoked the entire pregnancies. They drank. They did drugs. I mean, they did all kinds of stuff. And I mean, some of us are a little nutty, but a lot of us, are very smart, intelligent people, And then you got, our generation where we have babies having babies. And, I understand they did that back in the day, 14, 15 years old, marrying off, popping out little cattle children. But, we are so focused on everything so healthy, yet I was reading a study the other day that said by the year 2025, they predict it's going to be 40% of children or something like that. It's going to have autism. That's a high number of children. And that's due to the GMOs that we're putting in our children's food at schools. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand we try to figure out the cheapest way to make everything in mass production. But when it comes to our children, and I mean, not even just our children, when it comes to feeding humans and, living creatures, do you really want to give them shit? Would you literally pick up a piece of shit off the road and put it in your mouth? So then why do you fill our food full of fillers and GMOs and chemicals and all kinds of other shit that, is breaking our bodies down? Yeah, it fills us up for the moment, but in the long run, our life expectancy rate is going down dramatically. I mean, our grandparents are living to 90 years old, whereas some of our parents are living to like 70, 80, 90, maybe 90 if they're lucky, if they maybe lived a healthy life, or like these people are saying, good luck if they have a really good luck. Because if that's the case, if they're saying cancers are based on good luck or bad luck, I am more than likely screwed because I have normally horrible luck. So I am terrified to go get checked because God only knows what kind of cancer I have going on. We're about 26 minutes into the show. The temperature's rising a little bit. The humidity's dropping, so that's nice. It's dropped a couple %. The wind's not too bad. As for, traffic out there, it's about noon, so, there's not much going on. We still got that Polk County roadblock's gone, so it looks like anybody going into that Polk County area is going to be all right. Here in Pasco, no roadblocks, but we do have we have a vehicle crash with injuries. It happened about 11:35 this morning. Cops got there about 12:22. Wow. Let's see where it's at exactly. Why does it take so long? How does it take you that long to get to an accident with injuries? I mean, that seriously. 11:35, 12:22. That's almost an entire hour. Almost an entire hour for you to get to an accident with injuries. Right? So I wonder, when I look at this Florida Highway Patrol traffic crash reports, I wonder if that's just the police officers that it took to get there, or if that's everybody. Because, normally when you see a crash, I mean, the fire truck shows up, the ambulance shows up, the police, they all show up kind of right around the same time. So if it's taking our cops, our ambulances, everybody that long, I'm kind of wondering where my tax money's going there, because I'm wondering what's taking you so long to get to where it is. And it's right there off US 19 northbound by Trouble Creek Road, Newport Richey. So if you're in the Newport Richey area there, watch out, because that one's it's gonna block you for a little bit. It's gonna, everybody likes to stop, stare, and chicken neck. So, take a couple minutes out of your day, get in your car a little early, turn us on, pauses in and enjoy, because you're going to be sitting in your car for a minute. The other Pasco one happened about 12:21, so about 7 minutes ago. The vehicle crash, no injuries, no roadblocks or nothing. The cops are not there yet, so you're going to have to bear with them. I don't know if they've pulled off or what they've done, so they might be, still chilling in the road. Watch out for them. Keep your eyes open. We don't need any more accidents, any more problems than what's already going on there. Let's see what's going on with the CDC lately. Looks like lab techs may have been exposed to the Ebola in the the CDC. Let's see. A technician from the Center for Disease Control, that's the CDC, and prevention will be monitored for the next 3 weeks after possibly being exposed to the Ebola virus at the One Agency Atlanta labs. This happened Wednesday. The CDC said in a written statement that a small amount of material from an experiment was mistakenly transferred from one lab to another, and it might have contained a live virus. The incident was discovered Tuesday, but they didn't release, their statements and all that and the information until Wednesday. The technician has no symptoms of an illness. The CDC director of the public relations, Barbara Reynolds, said in the statement, others who entered the lab have been contacted and will be assessed for possible exposure. by the CD occupational health clinics. As of this time, we believe exposure requiring monitoring is limited to one individual. I got a little bit of some video footage going on there, so we'll get that loaded up. I called this when it came out. I recently cut off my TV and all that. I got a little irritated with seeing all the negativity in the news, and not only that, it seemed like I was paying for a bunch of channels that always had the same crap going on. So I got a little irritated and shut it off. So everything that I read, I go on CNN and Bay News 9. I try to use more of their websites and do a lot of more of my internet searching because I can do it on my phone. I try to stay away from the TV much anymore. I play a little bit of video games, but I don't really even have time for that much. With this, with the Ebola virus, when this came out, it was really irritating because they put on the news, a little slideshow that said, "Oh, let's give you some facts about Ebola." Okay, well, it's transferred this way, it's done this way, there's no cure, blah, 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 blah. And then the next news broadcaster that comes on after their little slideshow then goes into their story on how they have now released the two first people that had been, in contact with the Ebola when they came back. They had released them because they had supposedly cured Ebola. Now, that seemed a little redundant to me. How are you going to just put on a slideshow that there's no cure for Ebola and then come in 10 seconds later with your news broadcast and then say, "Oh, but by the way, we cured Ebola"? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. How do you cure something that's uncurable? Not only that, if you're using research pharmaceuticals, research drugs, research plants, whatever you're using, if you're using experimental shit to get rid of such a horrendous virus, don't you think that you might want to monitor these people for a few months, make sure that it's not just in remission like some cancers do? Make sure that it's actually cured, gone, not in their system before you release them into, society, into contact with, other people. I mean, just them alone, they go home, they come in contact with one person, that person goes out, sneezes on their hand, they touch a doorknob. Now 300 people come and touch that doorknob. Now everybody's got it. And all because they didn't want to take a couple months to make sure that their experimental shit is, curing their supposed, Ebola. I'm going to give you a little bit of this video footage here. We'll listen to a little bit of it. Anybody that's listening to me on Spreaker, if you feel like chiming in and chatting with me about it, feel free. If you're listening live and you feel like calling in, you can do that. Let's get this started and see what you guys think about it.
Which was not equipped to handle it, monitored for the Ebola virus after an error occurred with transporting the deadly disease. On Monday, a live virus sample was moved from one lab to another, which was not equipped to handle it, causing the potential exposure to at least one technician. Now, the CDC says other employees who enter the lab are being assessed to see if they could be monitored as well.
So there's a bunch of people
I'm
in
joined
contact.
by Dr. Seema Yasmin. She is the former CDC disease detective and a CNN medical analyst. So first off, if you can talk us through how a mistake like this can occur. I mean, is this due to carelessness or a lack of safety?
So again, I said this is the CDC. They're getting ready to talk to a girl from the CDC. They moved an experiment from one lab to another, and the other lab wasn't equipped to handle it, and they're not really sure how many people have come in contact with it, but everybody that was in those labs, they are now calling and trying to get them back in. Now, here's the only problem. They've all left. They've all gone home. They've all been around families and kids and dogs and God only knows what else. So, I mean, it might be a little too late for that. Let's clue back in and listen to what this lady has to say about it.
Procedures.
It can actually be a combination of both of those factors. And we have to say up front, this isn't the first lab error we've seen at a government lab this year. At CDC earlier this year, we saw 75 scientists were exposed to live anthrax in June. And earlier in the year, there was a mishandling of a deadly strain of bird flu. And in those instances, we've had more time to look back at what went wrong. There was an incident where we learned a scientist was overworked, overtired, didn't follow the protocol correctly. And also we've seen delays in notification of these missteps.
Wasn't handled
delays
properly.
how quickly you can respond and make improvements to the protocol.
Yeah, so were no changes or improvements.
Okay, so as the lady's saying, this is now the Ebola, but this isn't the first time that mishandling has happened in these labs. They had an anthrax one. You'd think if you're going to be letting people handle things is, I hate to say precious because it's not really precious, but as delicate and as destructive as an Ebola virus or an anthrax virus, you should maybe make sure you train them in handling this properly and making sure there's logs and all that. It's not leaving labs and places that it shouldn't be. Now we've got, like they said, they're not sure how many lab technicians come in contact with it, so they're not sure how many people, if it is Ebola, we're not saying that it is, but if it is Ebola, they're not sure how many people have come in contact with this and, how many people might possibly be out spreading this around. Now, this is exactly why, I'm not really anti-people because I love people. I'm anti being around people because, I signed my daughter up for daycare. I paid ahead of time and all that thinking I was doing good. My daughter's only in there a day and ends up with RSV, ends up with an ear infection. I mean, I take my kid to be around other kids. I would hope that, and with children it's hard because, they pick their nose, they touch things, they put their fingers in their mouths, it's hard. But, I try to teach my kid about washing her hands as thoroughly as I can, but she's young, they just don't do it. And they bring that back to us. And then we bring that, I work with Lou and Timmy here in the studio. And, if my daughter gets me sick and I'm touching the computers or, breathing on the microphones, then I'm getting Timmy and Lou sick. And then Lou's spreading it to his. It's just, it's a vicious cycle. And, dealing with Ebola and anthrax, that's nothing like a common cold. That's not something you can go and take some little Tylenol cough and cold and get rid of it. This is something that's laying people down in their beds and killing them. You'd think they'd do a little more precautions about making sure that this isn't being mishandled. So we'll see. Hopefully they get that under, wraps soon because, it's a little out of control. The new year, it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know about you guys, but it's been pretty interesting for me so far. Lou told me that they say what you do on your first day of the new year is what you'll do for the rest of the year. I have to admit I am not exactly thrilled by that statement. I can say that my New Year's Day wasn't exactly rosebuds and lollipops, so we'll see. It's a new day, and I try not to go the whole year off of just one day. Things happen, so we'll see. Looks like in Brooksville, a law firm gives away turkeys to needy families. For the third year in a row, the Lohman Law Firm handed out 250 turkeys in the downtown Brooksville. Hundreds of people lined up to get the free turkey and some holiday cheer. it's very sweet that, you know, they can do that year after year and take care of our indigenous people out here, because, you know, it's really sad that we spend so much time worrying about all these other countries and, you know, how we can help fix them, and this entire time we're standing back watching our own people, you know, skimp by and suffer, and we're too busy sending, you know, money that could be pumped here in the United States. I'm all for people in other countries having a better life, and I feel completely horrible that they are in those situations. And I understand that some people just don't have the funds to be able to leave, or, you know, they just don't have the means to overthrow or do what they need to do to get, you know, their rights as humans. But I live here in the United States of America. I drive past homeless daily. I see women's shelters with children, you know, just filled. You know, I see kids that don't get to have Christmases and going to school in old clothes. And I mean, if we pumped just a third of the money that we pump into bullshit, I mean, we wouldn't have to cut out so many programs for schools. We could, you know, do more to help the homeless. We could do more to help, you know, these abused and battered women and their families. You know, I understand there's some people out there in the world that have put themselves in their situations, but there are a lot of people that have had other people put them in the situation they're in, and they just need a little bit of help. And constantly sending our money elsewhere when it could be used home for better purposes and to help our own people, which doesn't mean white people, that doesn't mean black people, it means everybody. It means anybody that comes over here and is a United States citizen. We need that government to back us up. We need people to help. We should not have so many people, you know, so many empty, foreclosed on houses while we're sending thousands of dollars and all of our people over to Afghanistan to be killed. You know, I understand there's a war and, you know, there's more to it, and, you know, I don't even want to dwell on that. But, you know, when it comes down to it, I just firmly believe that anymore we're fighting a fight that's just not ours. It's time that America finally just pulls their nose out of everybody else's asses and starts smelling the shit that's really going on here, because it's time. We've got too many people suffering, too many problems, cities falling to shit while we're worried about, you know, so-and-so controlling so-and-so, you know. Let North Korea control its people. Let North Korea fight with South Korea, and, you know, let us worry about us. If they want to threaten us, that's when we butt our nose in. But until they bother us, stay out of it. It's a fight that, you know, we're spending money and not taking care of our own people in the process. I mean, you're so concerned about everybody else's well-being. Well, why don't you worry about, you know, our well-being? We live here. We elect you. We pay your salaries and, you know, put your kids into your Harvard academies. It's and Princeton's. It's time you wake up and see where we are and what we're going through. So it's definitely nice to see that, you know, a local law group there in Brooksville would take the time out of their, you know, their lives and their families and take money out of their own pockets to donate to needy families all over that area. And to see that hundreds of people, not just, you know, a few, hundreds of people lined up to get these free turkeys. And I don't know about you, Timmy, but I know what it's like to go to your fridge, open up, and go, there's nothing in there. That sucks.
My main diet actually consists of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and ramen noodles by choice. I mean, I have a full fridge stocked and freezer stocked, but
you just kind of got used to eating.
I don't know. I love ramen noodles and saltine crackers and peanut butter and jelly.
My thing was mustard and Parmesan sandwiches.
I used to do tomato and mayonnaise sandwiches. That's it. Yeah. Tomato, salt, and mayonnaise.
Ugh. I don't think I could do that one. But yeah, there was times that we didn't even have the bread or the mustard, so I would just pour. Luckily, we had, because you'd go to get spaghetti, you'd get a big jug of that powdered Parmesan, and you'd have it in the cupboard, and I would pour it into a bowl, and that would be our snack. So and that's one thing that I don't. My husband, he's never really experienced any of that, so that's where we see differently.
I've had a couple of times in my life that I had to break up some white bread and put it in a bowl, put a little maple syrup on there and sugar, and just eat that.
And hope it tastes good.
Well, it's going to taste good because you got maple syrup on there, but...
I don't know. Soggy bread doused in syrup. I gag. I'm a texture person. The wrong texture hits my mouth, I'm... That's right.
You ever been to jail?
No.
You'll eat anything when you come out of there.
Yeah, I know. That's what they say. Well, I've always stayed out of trouble. I've always been a good girl. When
I always stayed out of trouble, too. I just made some bad mistakes.
Like I told you, the bad mistakes I made was always putting a hole in my eyebrow or my nose, cutting off my hair, coloring it. I drank. I did some drugs when I was younger. I did some things, but luckily I always do it in a manner that didn't involve me getting in serious trouble. I mean, the worst that happened was my dad found out and I got, grounded.
You ever got arrested?
Nope.
So, yeah, you're good.
I've never actually even been in... I've only been in the back of a police car once, and I think that was when I was a kid.
For a ride along?
I think I went once. They took me home, and then once they, came to my school. Mm-hmm. And then recently I was dating somebody before I married my husband, and his sister was batshit crazy on bath salts. Mm-hmm. And she showed up at my house, crazy, nuts, and... we had to call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't want to arrest her, of course, which, isn't what we wanted. We just wanted her out of our place, and I have a young child. Yeah, of course. And, Adam's not, the biological father, so, she was around. She was a little bit younger. And that's the last thing I need is my young child waking up to some... she's a pretty girl, too, but this skinny, Skeletor-looking girl all twacked out on drugs... running around talking about there's people in my trunk, there's people in my house, people are coming to get me, I've lost all this, when, it's like, you need to go home. So, I drove her home in her car, and then the cop gave me a ride home. Mm-hmm. Well, after I dropped her off, he gets out of the car or whatever, and he's like, oh, would you like to sit in the back, or would you like to sit in the front? He's like, because if you sit in the front, he's like, I got to move some stuff. And I was like, well, I apologize, but you're going to have to move some shit because I'm 23 years old, and I've never been in the back of a police car, and I don't plan on starting now. So, let's do this. Do you need some help?
I was actually pretty good for a while. My first arrest was 2010, I think it was. And I was 24 at the time. It was a bad night. And after that, it just got worse and worse.
It's one of those you have to completely hit rock bottom before you can go back to the top.
I was on paper for 2 years after that.
Damn.
It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I know how that is,
No, you don't. You don't know how that is.
Well, I don't know personally, but like I said, I never did it because I always watched everybody else go through it.
Well,
I never did hardcore drugs because, I lived with a guy, his name was Chad. He had track marks really bad on his arm. Uh-huh. He used to like to bang heroin. Uh-huh. I never touched a needle because I saw what his arm looked like. It looked like a little piece of grated cheese. Mm-hmm. Just all these little tiny holes. I'm like, okay, well... I don't want to try that. Now, I did try some drugs, after my mom died, which was really stupid. But, after my mom died, it was a very sudden and very painful experience for me. And not only had I, about a month before, I had lost, my boyfriend at the time. He had left me, took off with my car, all my money, pretty much everything. Left me pretty much screwed. So,
stranded.
Yeah, I hit rock bottom completely. Was snorting pills, was doing, I was drinking, I was working at a club because I didn't have money because I was spending it all, and yeah, I completely, and that was it for me, and that lasted 2 months, if that. Yeah. That's
good.
Yeah.
Only 2 months. That's good.
And my whole family went, what the fuck are you doing? And I went, well, at least it was only 2 months, Other people, it lasts like 5-6 years. I got over mine quick.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Right.
People could be stuck at that rock bottom summit for years.
And it seems like you're, everybody has their problems, and, my husband, he knows firsthand. My husband's been to jail. So, I mean, he knows, and you've seen my husband. He's a pretty boy.
Mm-hmm.
He don't belong in jail. So,
Some people could take it. It matters if you go or not and find out if you can or not.
I am too little to go to jail. I would have to find the biggest bitch and be her bitch.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't have.
Oh, they'd find me.
No,
I wouldn't have to go find him.
You're not somebody's bitch in jail if you don't want to be. Bottom line.
Well, I don't want to walk
understand.
around. Well, yeah, no, I don't want to walk around worrying if I'm going to get, my lunch taken. So I'm just going to go find Big Bertha, and I'll just, I'll be her bitch. Fuck
No,
it.
you don't want to do that.
You can have my pudding.
And then you have to pay her with the trays. Trays, food. Your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's what the food is. They call trays,
I'm your bitch, and you still going to take my food? Really? I'll give you a little bit, but you ain't going to give me none? That's fucked up.
For protection?
See, that's why I stay out of jail, because I don't need that shit. Okay? I'm little. I need my food. I'm willing to share, but let's not be greedy. Okay?
Getting a little too into it now.
Yeah. Let's not be greedy here, people. I'm telling you, my family. My brother was another one. He always managed to slide right underneath the radar. He'd be like in your radar.
I used to be the same exact way until that one night.
Yeah. He's like, just one fucking night. I was doing so good until that fucking night. And then that night started a whole fucking downhill spiral.
I mean, because I'm a product of my charges were DWI. So when I see all these DWI incidents, I really can't say anything because I was one of them.
He's like, I can't say nothing.
Yeah, I can't hate.
I was going to hit the chirping, but I don't have any. I got this.
That's all right.
They abducted you. You fix yourself now. Yeah, no, my parents did drugs, so I got to watch a lot of that shit firsthand. Like, that does not look fun. Oh, you're burning yourself. That looks fun. Would you like some help? We're about 10 minutes.
Yeah, steer clear from drugs. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, right. Well, they used to have that DARE program in school. Did you ever go to that?
Yes.
I graduated DARE.
5th grade.
Yeah, and now they don't even have that stuff. They don't do anything like they used to do. Kids don't even trying to say that PE is not even important.
That shit still didn't work though.
No. Don't do drugs. Well, weed's not a drug. It's a plant. Timmy's like, no. So did you ever see that billboard earlier that we were talking about?
No.
That racist one?
No.
Yeah. They put up, it's not racist to love your people. White Pride Radio. That is hilarious. And, the thing that pisses me off about it is the fact that if that were a black pride or a Hispanic pride, it wouldn't be causing as much controversy. But it seems like any time that the Caucasian race makes a point of us being prideful in our color, we're KKK. You're automatically the Ku Klux Klan.
Or Aryan.
Yeah, we're an Aryan. I mean, first of all, I'm not German. Okay? I'm French. I'm Belgian. Not German. So, I mean, I'm definitely not, an Aryan, because they walk around with swastikas, right? Don't they firmly believe in the Hitler point of view?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Oh, Heil Hitler.
Not completely, but
Yeah. But very, very close.
the same kind of mentality.
But, I believe everybody should have pride in, in their culture and their color.
I don't understand racism. I'm not racist.
I hate everybody.
Anyway. Well, I do too, but it doesn't really affect other races. It's just broad. I mean, I hate white people.
Yeah. There's a lot of white people I can't stand. A lot of times myself. I'm like, really? Come on now. I'm glad I wear glasses so I can take my shit off. I ain't even got to see myself. We're about 5 minutes out from the change in shows. We're going to bring you Timmy. He's been chiming in here. He's like, oh, yay.
I'm very monotone right now.
Yeah. He's listening to his tunes.
Yes.
Temperatures getting a bit up there. We're about 80 degrees here. 91% humidity, so the humidity's going down. Winds are about 2 miles an hour, peaking at about 8, average 6. Like I said, I'm not even going to try and give you that barometric because that's not good. Inside the studio, it's a nice, comfy 79 degrees. I'm glad you guys listened. It will be getting a lot more interesting as I get a little more comfortable here. Controlling everything's a little out of my norm. I only took broadcasting school for about a few months in high school, I think. But thank you for joining in and listening to us. Timmy's going to bring you some tunes here, so tune back in, chat with him live. Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys again tomorrow.